by the way, this video is again from Willow, and he's going to talk about in here about the cards that have been revealed for DC Dual Force, the upcoming card game for DC Comics. So let's see what the cards are and what they do and whatever. And Willow did a great job on the other video talking about the game, so maybe his input in this is really cool. So let's check it out.
Alright, yesterday's video I went over some of the core rules of DC Dual Force, talked about what you can expect from the game. So if you don't know anything about the game just yet, I highly recommend going to check out that video. But in this video I want to
we watched it and it was cool.
Talk about all of the individual cards we've seen so far for DC Dual Force. I've broken these down into factions for this particular video. For those who don't know, the game's split up into 5 factions. We have Tyranny, Anarchy, Energy, Might, and Tactics. First we're gonna go...
How cool would it be to play with a faction called Tyranny, brother? That is fucking cool.
Over the Tactics card.
Yes, that will happen 100%, Cosmic Beard. That will happen a lot.
Starting with the Batman leader. This is why I highly recommend you go watch the core video first, because there's a lot to talk about on individual cards. So Batman is a leader card. He has 17 defense, which based on what we've seen so far seems around about in the middle. The lowest health or lowest defense leader we've seen so far is 15. That's the Flash. We'll talk about him a little bit later on. So 17, it seems about in the middle, maybe a little bit above average. He has 2 abilities. One gets Batman gets +2 attack is what this circle is, or at least.
So the leaders by default don't have attack. Check this out. Batman doesn't have attack by default. If you want to attack with Batman, you have to pay 1 charge to get the +2 attack and ambush. An ambush is while attacking, cards with ambush deal damage first. So if you are going to kill something with Batman, you don't get retaliation damage, you know. So that is cool. That is cool to know. Now, what they say that you get 1 charge a turn. What I don't know is if charge gets accumulated turn by turn. If they have one that costs 2, I will assume they do, you know? Like you could save your charges for later.
Damage, that type of thing. And ambush this turn. Ambush means while attacking, you deal damage first. So I assume this means if you were to destroy a target with your...
I wonder that too, Cosmic Beard. And as far as I know, since the other video we watched, we don't know how many cards are going to be in a deck. And that is a cool piece of information to have, you know.
Attack, you won't receive retaliate damage. Probably seen this type of keyword before. It's nice to see that Batman has that going for him. He also has, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, draw one of them. If it's a gadget, upgrade it, and Batman gains charge. So charge.
So, do we think this design is congruent with Batman's character? Having ambush and hitting first is congruent with Batman characters, like going in the shadow and he hits you without you noticing it. That is congruent with Batman's character. And looking at the 3 cards in your deck and drawing one of them, this is congruent with his part of being a detective, you know, like you investigate what is coming in the future. And if it's a gadget, Batman has gadget. We don't know what a gadget is for now, but he has gadgets. Upgraded, so gadgets have upgrades. And Batman gains a charge, and we know charge are these things that you use to do the leader abilities. So if you play the 2 and you draw a gadget, then you can play the 1 and attack. That is a cool thing to have, you know. If it's a 60-card deck, the monetization will probably for sure be booster of packs, or 30-card deck. His card draw is prep time. Exactly. Always people say if you give Batman enough prep time, he can beat anyone. So the second ability is the prep time.
Charge is not a keyword. There's a handful of things going on here. So charge is what we're spending to use our abilities. So this yellow box here is the amount of charge the ability requires. So you spend 2 on this, and then if you draw a gadget with it, you upgrade the gadget and you get back a charge that you spent on the ability. At least that's my interpretation. I could be wrong, so bear with me on that.
That was my interpretation
but
too.
I do believe that is how that works. I'm not exactly sure what the definition of a gadget is here. We haven't seen anything with gadget wording on it. I assume some actions might have.
Another thing, check that the leaders don't have the rarity badge, so you don't have to upgrade the leaders. That is good to know. Like what the badge that said bronze, silver, or golden. And the other thing is that they don't have rarity badge in the middle either. So maybe they are not even common, red, or whatever. They are just leader. The rarity is leader. So I don't know. We have to take a look at the monetization later when they announce more shit. But I hope it isn't stupid.
Have keywords that establish them as gadgets. Either way, it's really hard to evaluate this ability because we don't know how many cards you actually put in your deck. If you have a 10 card deck, this ability seems really good. If you have a 50 card deck, this ability seems a lot worse. Either way, I think Batman seems pretty okay, especially with the ambush keyword on a leader. That seems really good. But again, we know so little about this game, it's hard to say what's good and what's not. But I'd say Batman's off to a good start, especially when we look at the next tactics card here, which is to the Batcave. Your leaders heal 3 damage, so there's a total of 6 healing because you have 2 leaders in this game. For the rest of the game, draw an additional card each turn. Again, this kind of...
Imagine me playing this game and every day having to say the word leader, and I hate the fucking leader. But it is not the same leader, brother. I can compartmentalize, you know. So we have the Batcave in here. To the Batcave. No, it is not the Batcave. Your leaders heal 3 damage, and for the rest of the game, draw an additional card each turn. This seems really strong, brother, because in this game there is no cost for playing cards, so you could play this on the first turn, and for the rest of the game you draw an additional card. But we don't know what this golden sheet means. Maybe you can play golden sheet on the first turn. We don't know. But this is like a cool card, brother.
And it comes down to deck size. Obviously, this effect is really, really strong, and it also depends on the number of turns we're going to have each game. You know, if we play this on turn 7, how many turns do we have left in the game? It obviously very much depends on the context of the game. If this card's only drawing 1 card, then it's, you know, it's not the best. Though, you know, draw 1, heal 6 in total doesn't sound like the worst thing in the world. Yeah, pretty high on this card actually. I think we can build around this card pretty consistently. So I'll keep my eye out. Every time I open up a pack, I'll be waiting to the Batcave. This card seems pretty good. Definitely a fun build around for sure. All right, we can move on to the might category. This is the first category we're going to go over that actually has 2 heroes or 2 leaders that we can talk about. In this case, it's going to be Superman and Wonder Woman. Let's focus on Superman first. Superman is a leader with 19 health. That is the highest amount of health we've seen, or defense.
A
Sorry,
lot of health,
I'm going to get used to saying defense because
it
is a defense stat in this game. 19 defense is plenty. His 2 abilities are +3 attack and Hunter this turn. So Hunter ignores protections. So protections are things like...
So it is... again, this is congruent with Superman. The dude flies and is fast. It doesn't make sense that someone can taunt Superman. You know, he can go over a taunt minion and hit whatever the fuck he wants. So this makes sense. This makes sense.
Guard or hidden. So I assume guard is like taunt in Hearthstone and hidden is like stealth. I'm going to compare everything to Hearthstone because most people are familiar with Hearthstone. It's actually been a long time since I've played Hearthstone, but I know a lot of people are very familiar with that system. So if I refer to a keyword and then compare it to another one, you'll remember more easily if I refer to it as the Hearthstone terminology. So Hunter pretty much just ignores all of the things that protects other cards. I'm not sure how valuable of an effect that is. Obviously, it really much depends on, you know, how many cards have hidden, how many cards have guard. Yeah, it's going to be very contextual to determine how good this effect is. I will mention though, most of the leader abilities that we've seen so far that give any amount of attack seem to give 2, where Superman gives 3. He's a little bit stronger than the others,
he
so
hits harder,
that's something to keep in mind. Here's a fun one. His second ability is a friendly character gets invincible until the start of your next turn.
So this makes sense or not? Because Superman doesn't per se make another person invincible, but he can get in the way and protect them, right? So that kind of makes sense if you look at it that way. A friendly character gets invincible. That means Superman is protecting them, you know. This makes sense and counters my argument earlier. He's actually moving up in front to block. Exactly.
That is crazy. So just so you know, the invincible keyword does mean that the person doesn't take damage, as well as not being able... So if you have a minion,
you could make them invincible and attack with that minion while being invincible will be... That will be cool and strong, right?
To be KO'd. We'll go over the second might leader. This is going to be Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman's first ability is +2 strength or +2 attack, whatever we end up calling this, and gain shield. Shield is similar to barrier.
Shield is like divine shield in Hearthstone, and they can attack without getting damage, and they just lose a shield, which means that Wonder Woman can attack with impunity every turn, brother. That is cool.
I think it's called in Hearthstone? No, it's called Divine Shield in Hearthstone. The next piece of damage that the person receives is reduced to 0. But really, more exciting than that is Wonder Woman's next ability, which seems really strong. Double the attack of each of your minions. So each of your minions...
That seems strong. She doubles the attack of everything. That is strong, brother. That is strong.
Get double attack values. That makes Wonder Woman incredibly exciting. She is 17 defense, so a little bit weaker than Superman, so you are giving up a little bit.
She has the same defense or life or whatever as Batman.
Taking Wonder Woman over Superman, but you're getting this very powerful effect, which I'm sure will be fun to use. The only might card that we've seen so far is Super Strength, which is give a friendly minion +3/+3.
So this is, they call this an action card, but this is a spell, right? Well, let's call them by the name they are giving, then action. But this is essentially a spell. And this gives +3/+3 to a minion. So it can be used on a leader, only on a minion.
3. No other might cards have been shown so far, but based on what we've seen here, just on these 3 cards here, we can assume that the might faction is going to be very buff oriented. Expect to see some more big buff cards coming out of the might faction. We can move on to the energy faction now, where we're going to talk about the Flash, which is the only energy-based leader we've seen so far.
So the Flash wasn't given out like the other cards that are the art is up front, but he had to infer it from the trailer and look at this text that is like from the side, you know. But you know that people always figure that shit out. But the Flash only has 15 defense or life or whatever, and that appears to be really low. Do you guys think that is congruent with the character? Is the Flash weaker than Batman? I don't know.
So the Flash has 15 defense.
Yo, Pira, my dude, how you doing, brother? How you doing, bro?
The lowest of any leader we're going to go over in this video. Okay. He has 2 abilities. One is +2 attack this turn, ready the Flash after his next attack this turn. So now, honestly, using this effect...
So he can attack 2 times a turn, but he doesn't have something that protects him. So if you attack 2 times and you are taking hits at 15 life, you are getting fucked up, right?
Can be a little bit scary because obviously you're going to receive retaliate damage when you attack with the Flash, but something that's important to keep in mind.
Brother, Flash has to be a leader. Flash has to be a leader. How the fuck are you not going to have the Flash as a leader, dude? I would be pissed if the Flash isn't a leader, dude.
Mind is that all of the leader cards have their attack bound to an ability that ends at the end of that turn. So if I have a good understanding of the game, my assumption is that you can just continue to use that effect as the Flash and just throw that 2 damage onto enemy leaders, effectively ramping up quite a bit of the damage you can deal. Now, you are going to...
Oh, that is a difference. Since leaders don't have attack, you can attack a leader with impunity with the Flash because they aren't going to retaliate. And since you can refresh the ability, you can hit them several times with the Flash. That is cool. I didn't think about that.
Going to run into problems as the opponent continues to put minions up in front of themselves, which is going to protect them from the Flash. But assuming you have an open path to...
That is completely true, Cosmic Bean. He can just kill somebody without them even noticing, but he comes and he says that I am here. But of course that needs to happen because it is hard to write the Flash stories if you don't have something at the stake, you know. And the same goes to Superman. Superman can fly and just kill somebody with a fucking laser from his eyes without them even noticing, but they don't ever do that, which is stupid.
Towards the enemy leader, you can deal 4 damage a turn without playing any cards against enemy leaders, and that's pretty crazy. You also see the most expensive ability we've ever seen on a card, and that's take an additional turn after this one. It costs...
That is true. If you look at the other cards, the second ability is always 2 costs. The Superman was a 2 cost, the Batman was 2, and the Wonder Woman was 2. But the Flash is 4. So this makes me think, or the charges do accumulate through the turns, or you have cards that give you charges.
Plus 4 charge, but that's an incredibly exciting effect, and for that reason,
Take an additional
Flash
turn.
is my
that
most
is
desired leader right now. as soon as I get my hands on the game, I think I want the Flash, because that ability.
So we can see that the green shed is like more combo oriented, right? Because this is combo oriented. Take an additional turn, so you are trying to set a stop off and just OTK or do some crazy shit.
Sounds crazy. Anything that reads take an additional turn on it, I'm all here for. Moving on to our only energy minion that we have, and that's Dr. Fate, Mr. Kent Nelson, who is a 7/10. Good stats with start. I assume start is more or less like on reveal or battle cry. So
I assume the same.
When this creature comes into play, I believe, create 2 random spells in your hand. So interesting to note that this doesn't say 2 random actions. We've gone.
So yes, this makes me think that there are different type of cards that are not necessarily actions, because with Batman we saw the gadget card and now we are seeing the spells cards with the Dr. Fate. So maybe they are just generated cards that fall into certain type of cards, you know.
One of our action cards in this video, but Dr. Fate is not adding actions to your hand. He's adding spells to your hand. So unless this is just a wording error, Dr. Fate is adding unique cards to your hand. I could be wrong about that. There might be some other type of card in the game that is defined as spells instead of actions.
For this to be a minion, having 7 attack and 10 defense, this seems strong. If we take into consideration that the Flash has only 15 life or 15 defense, 2 attacks from this dude and he's done, brother.
Actions, but my current assumption is that spells is a unique thing to Dr. Fate, so I'm really excited to see what those spells are. That's all we have for the energy faction, but so far it looks like the energy faction's very combo oriented, so the energy faction is going to be up my alley, I think. Moving on to Anarchy. First, we'll talk about Harley Quinn, who has a very fun effect. She's got 16 defense, so a little on the lower end, pretty close to Flash. Her first ability is +2 to 6 power, and Harley Quinn immediately attacks at random. So the
that seems appropriate to an Anarchy card, you know. So you involve the RNG element in here.
Side of getting that much attack is that she's going to be hitting a random target, and then her second ability is +3 attack, and Harley Quinn immediately attacks each available enemy in a random order. Jeez,
also
Harley Quinn is
appropriate.
out here just hitting people. That's an exciting effect for sure. Moving on to the only Anarchy minion we have, and that's Punchline. Punchline is a 3/3, so pretty low stats, at least compared to what we've seen elsewhere, but she has Frenzy. Punchline has lethal if you control Joker. So
look at this. She seems really weak in comparison with Dr. Fate in terms of attack and health. 3 and 3, and the Dr. Fate was 7/10. But the Dr. Fate was golden in here and she's bronze in here. So I don't know. This golden bronze bullshit is making me nervous about the game, brother. But of course she has ability, but the Dr. Fate also had an ability. What is the spells are really strong?
There's a lot to catch up here if you haven't watched the core rules video, but this game is played on a 3x2 grid.
But if the gold bronze is rarity, then what is the shit in the middle, the green stuff? I suppose this is the rarity, because the other one was yellow, you know. So there are different rarities in here. If this is rarity, what is this? And if this is rarity, what is this? That is the question.
Punchline, when she destroys or when she KOs a defender in the front row, she'll immediately attack the space behind it. So she might attack twice if she KOs something. But here's the exciting part. Punchline gains lethal if you control Joker. And what lethal is, it's kind of like poisonous. Cards with lethal KO any minions that they attack. Oh, sorry, not the...
So basically you only play this if you play the Joker. There is no way you play this if you don't play the Joker. And I don't like that design, by the way. I don't like that design. I have said it before with cards in Marvel Snap like Surtur. I don't know if you guys have watched Surtur, but Surtur has like +10 power if you play Human Torch on this game. And I said that I don't like that, because now if you want to play Surtur, you want to play Human Torch, or it doesn't work. So you compromise 2 slots in your deck right away. I don't like that shit, and they are doing it here with this card with the Joker. So if you don't have the Joker, this is useless probably.
They attack that they damage, so there's an important distinction there. Honestly, so far my interpretation of Punchline is that she's fairly weak. 3 defense is really low from what we've seen so far, plus her lethal condition requires that Joker be in play, so I'm not expecting big things from Punchline, but I hope to be surprised because that kind of loop of frenzy plus lethal sounds really fun to use. I hope to be wrong about Punchline, but so far I'm not impressed. Moving on to the Tyranny faction, this is our last faction we're going to go over here. We don't have a leader for Tyranny yet, so we're not really going to...
Which sucks. I would really like to see a Tyranny leader because so far that is the one that it looks more exciting for me, Tyranny. You know, and Anarchy looks cool too. But I would assume that Darkseid is a leader in Tyranny, right? I want to play as Darkseid in a Tyranny deck, brother. Give me that.
Going to be able to contextualize
exactly. You said it too, Cosmic Beer. You said it too.
As either of these 2 cards, but we're going to do our best. First, we'll focus on the action that we have, and that's Thin the Herd. KO half of your opponent's minions, rounded down. Yo, that's wild. It doesn't say random on this card, so I wonder if you can select the minions. And if it's so, that's kind of crazy. Yeah, obviously, without the context of the rest of the game, an effect like this can seem really crazy. My assumption is that Tyranny is going to be very control-focused, so they're probably going to have a lot of cards that are annoying to deal with. All right, Gorilla Grod is our final card that we're going to talk about today. It's the last minion, the last card, the last everything. Gorilla Grod is a 7/6, which seems like okay stats, maybe a little low on the defensive side. When an enemy blocking Gorilla Grod is KO'd, draw a card. Now, we don't know for sure what blocking means, but...
So you want to kill as many things as you can with Gorilla Grod to draw as many cards as you want.
Let me break it down. So let's say this is our board setup. We've got Gorilla Grod in front of our first leader, but our opponent has another minion in front of their first leader. I don't target their leader or this minion. I target the first lane. And when I target that lane and I destroy this front unit, I'm destroying an enemy that is blocking. And if that's the case, Gorilla Grod would draw a card. Now, obviously, we don't know for sure that that's how the mechanic works. That seems consistent with everything we know so far about the game, so I'm going to go with that being the case. And if that is the case, on one hand, that's a good effect for Gorilla Grod to have. On the other hand, his defensive stats pretty low, at least for a big 7 power card. I don't know. It's really hard to contextualize this stuff without knowing what characters and units
it's really hard to know what is good and what not.
Thresholds are going
we don't know anything about the game.
I'm not confident in Gorilla Grod just yet, but anything that reads draw a card on it has the potential to be really good. So that's it. We went over all of the different factions. Which of the factions are you most excited to play? I'd say for me, it's going to be...
To me, Tyranny and Anarchy, and maybe Tactics, the one for Batman.
Energy, definitely energy. I'm also really excited to play with Harley Quinn, man. Harley Quinn's hero card seems really fun, or leader card seems really fun. Oh, but then again, there's that Wonder Woman that just doubles the attack of all your creatures. Overall, really fun card designs. I'm really looking forward to the future of this game. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you really enjoyed it.
I have to say that watching this one, I am now more hyped, and I really want to play this game, brother. Willow, thanks for the game. It's really a cool video. Some work went into it because the dude even made some graphics and the design of the board and whatever. So Willow, really good job in here. Thanks a lot. And yes, brother, I am really hyped for this game. I hope it come out this year. I hope it doesn't have that bullshit that you have to upgrade the cards like Clash Royale. And I really hope that if they are going to do something like a closed beta or something, please invite me, brother. Don't let me out. Invite me, brother. I want to play the game, dude.